Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 8th day of February, Super Bowl week. I got a good show on tonight, and at 30 minutes, possibly 32, 35 minutes after the hour, I'll have KeithEngle on from TGI Sports, backed by popular demand. Keith's a big-time New England fan. I was going to ask him what's his thoughts on Tom Brady retirement. What's his what does he see playing out for Tom Brady in his career and everything? Also going to ask about, and I'm going to talk about too, Russell Westbrook. Is he the most talented player to be a disappointing player as far as on the court success? He's one of the most talented players never to win a championship, in my opinion. He may be the most, for that matter. And I haven't made a list there, but we'll talk a little bit about Russell Westbrook, who has been rumored in a trade here in a little bit. The Tennessee Titans, I'm out of the Nashville area. They finally got an offensive coordinator. A lot of disappointed people. And I had to explain the whole situation with the Titans. If you follow them all the way through, it's not that bad. Derek Carr, by the way, visited with the New Orleans Saints. No word on that. I'll comment on that also. And let's see, Michael Irvin, playmaker. Playmaker gets in trouble. Had a dust up. He was sent home by the NFL Network. I'll get into all this here in just a minute. Take a quick break here, and I'll be back in a minute and 19 seconds here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself, why SportsScope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is SportsScope, again, spelled the same way. Or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. All right, I'm back here live on all links. And I want to thank again Jeffrey Deskovic for coming on the program. Man, he was great. Listen to that interview if you get a chance. If you haven't listened to yesterday's program, it's on Spotify. It's on anywhere you get your podcast, on the YouTube page, here on Facebook. Jeffrey Deskovic, really good guest last night there, folks. Sounded great in the playback. I listened to all the playbacks. I want to thank everybody for contributing too. Pickles, good call with that Barry Sheck reference there. I can tell he was impressed with my viewers and audience, you and Odette, Corey and everybody helping me out there. Good stuff there, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so in the news today, well, first of all, last night, LeBron passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the points. He's the all-time scoring leader, and this story kind of got hid there. This story got hid because of the LeBron story, but Russell Westbrook had a heated exchange with head coach Darvin Ham last night. And I want to say that I'm going to make sure I'm reading this right, if I got the screenshot on it. But essentially, Ham expressed frustration with how Westbrook lingered. Check this out, folks. Lingered on the planned for floor there after getting subbed out of a game late in the second quarter. Voices were raised in the locker room, but discussions turned back to trying to win the game against the Thunder. Ham closed the game with Westbrook, who had 14 of his 27 points in the fourth quarter. Ham and Westbrook dapped up before leaving the arena. So why is it even a story? It's probably a story because Wojciechowski's probably downplaying it. If it made it to the media, it was probably a lot worse than what Westbrook and Ham are letting on. And of course, just on time there's been a rumor all day on the internet. That's a rumor. It's been reported by Adrian Wojciechowski of ESPN, Sharm Sharami of The Athletic, that Westbrook is also being mentioned in a potential 3-team trade. Remember, tomorrow's the trade deadline. Also, possibly, he said so far so good that I'll have Jamie Paggs from Glendale, Arizona, the Philly sports guy. Going to get some questions with him tomorrow, right around, I think, 7:30 Central. He said he may be able to come on the program. I'm going to send him the link. I'm going to ask him about the Sixers. But anyways, I digress. All right. So the Lakers and the Timberwolves. The Lakers are trying to get back D'Angelo Russell from the Timberwolves. And, of course, the Lakers would trade Russell Westbrook to the Utah Jazz, and the Jazz essentially would send Mike Conley to Minnesota. Minnesota needs some more veteran leadership to help out with the young talent there. We need a veteran point guard. Now, this is all being discussed. Westbrook would go to Utah, and essentially Utah would just buy his contract out and get more draft picks. This is very Danny Ainge, of course, if you're listening. He's a big Danny Ainge guy. Loves Danny Ainge, the Boston Celtics. So, and you know, my main take from this, and this is all being discussed. This has not went down, but it's been floating on the internet for a few hours. And when you got guys like Wojciechowski and Sharmia talking about it, the talks are real. The ink, it's just has not been. The trade hasn't been made, but the discussions have been discussed. Okay, now, you know, my thing about it is Westbrook is probably one of the most talented players that I have seen to be so stubborn and not win he may be the most talented player of all time to never win a championship. He's probably got a better resume than a Barkley. You know, he's probably got a better resume as far as stats than a guy like a Patrick Ewing, if you really think about it. I mean, this guy, Russell Westbrook, folks, was okay. Russell Westbrook holds the record for the most NBA career season triple doubles with 198, and the only player to average a triple double for 4 different seasons. I mean, that's better than Oscar Robertson. That's the guy here that was a big triple double guy prior to a guy like Westbrook. But Westbrook, he cannot take coaching, too much coaching. He's very temperamental. He doesn't have self-awareness. He takes bad shots. Kevin Durant said and insinuated, even his teammates, ex-teammates, said that the guy was padding his stats a lot during those times. And, you know, he's really got to be hurt to be mentioned in multiple trade scenarios for the Lakers. They knew they made a mistake when they brought him on. He was, you know, LeBron James guy. But it's going to be a shame for a guy who has, all the way success going all the way back to the UCLA days, guys, in 2008 with Kevin Love, Corey, and Darren Collison. They all played on the same team. You guys remember that. I know you do, Pickles. These guys went to the Final Four in 2008 and pretty close to winning a national championship with Kevin Love and Darren Collison. And, they get to the finals. He gets to the finals with Durant. They go out in 5 games, but they blow that 3-game lead to the eventual champions. They would have probably beat Cleveland that year and got a championship. But he is so stubborn, no self-awareness, takes bad shots, great athletic ability. If he could just tunnel that energy and have just a little bit of respect for coaching, I mean, this guy could have been an all-time. He could have been like an Isaiah Thomas-like success-wise, as far as winning championships. He's probably got more talent than Isaiah. Because Isaiah had better leadership skills and whatnot. And, of course, he's got 2 rings, He says his athletic was a gift and a curse. He never developed the mental aspects of the game. Yeah, Corey, he never developed the mental aspect, and he just did not want to take maybe somebody with the mind like a Phil Jackson could get through to a guy. And I've always said this, and, rest in peace. But I don't like to be phony just because a person's passed. But I always said to myself that Kobe Bryant, I don't know if Kobe, but after reading Phil Jackson's book, I don't know if he would have ever won a championship without a psychologist. His brother's a psychologist. It was very hard to get through to Kobe. And you could see now Kobe's he's a taller player, probably got a better shot than a Westbrook. But Westbrook was so promising coming out. I remember talking to my dad about him when I was really into fantasy basketball, his first couple of years, back when he was drafted in June of 2008. Then the Seattle Seahawks, Supersonics. How about that? How about that name for you guys? By the great Sam Presti. And I'm thinking, this dude right here, man, he may be better than Durant. At some games, he was just a fantasy guru. And this team would win. But he never took that step forward. And he's one of those people, he just cannot take criticism. He has a history now of getting into it with fans, going after fans. He's had multiple incidents. Now, he didn't, wasn't a malice in the palace type of thing, but he's super sensitive. He got on to a parent about a kid giving him a high five on the court. And he's just really edgy, and just taking just a little bit of criticism, just play into some type of system, play off the ball. Don't keep shooting those threes if you know it's not falling, And a lot of people talk about, why have the Lakers blown so many games? And I told you all this from the very beginning. You cannot play Westbrook the last 5 minutes of the game. He can't. Corey says he's like Michael Vick. Yeah, he never developed any kind of system. His system is, give me the ball, I'm going to outrun everybody. And he's so good at that he's kind of like a Lamar Jackson of the NFL. He's so good at that, they just kept him on. And he never taken that style. He's in his 30s, and nobody wants the guy. The Nets don't want him. The only reason that the Jazz want him is just to buy his contract out and get those picks, And he's such a cancer now. He's a loose cannon. Yeah, he's lingering on the court after the coach subs him, which means you've got 6 players out there. You're pushing up on getting a technical for that. I mean, dude, you're 30-something years old. You ain't got the awareness to be respectful towards the coach. He's why they're 4 games back. He's mainly why. All those triple doubles that I just mentioned, he gets the MVP that year, and they don't even get out of the first round of the playoffs. He runs himself out. The Energizer Bunny, the battery just goes dead on him, and he's one of the greatest players to never win the championship, and he's his own worst enemy. A lot of teams, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they looked at that talent. They say, maybe it'll develop. Maybe it'll develop. We change coaches. Maybe it'll develop. And he's bouncing around. He went to the Wizards, and he have the Houston, Lakers. I mean, it's kind of sad because I know he's hurt that they want to get rid of him, but he's the problem. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and say, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not Kevin Durant. Maybe it's not all those coaches I went through from college up in here to the NBA. And quite frankly, if I'm a coach in college or the NBA and I see another talented player, I'm going to sit him down, and Russell Westbrook he's going to be a case study for developing your game and playing within some type of system and being a smarter player, and simply being a smarter player. But so as far as this trade, I don't know yet. Tomorrow's the deadline. I know that the Lakers desperately want to get rid of him, and they really want to bring back. Think about this, folks. They got rid of D'Angelo Russell because he was immature, quote. Remember, he told on his teammate was having some kind of affair, and he let it out. The guy was like 19, D'Angelo Russell. They move him, and he has matured somewhat, and they're willing to take a chance on a guy they moved years ago to get rid of Westbrook. He's the big elephant in the room, and it's sad in a way because I know he's got to be hurt by this. But at some point, man, you got to look in the mirror. You got to look into the mirror and say, maybe it's me. Maybe I need to change, and I need to develop and grow at some point. And Pickle says, he's simply uncoachable. A lot of these guys are. These really talented players, they're just simply uncoachable. Steve says, got to cut the cancer for the greater good. Yeah. And some players, they become like that. They become a cancer. They don't start off as a cancer. They start off as a talent. And like cancer, it doesn't start off in stage 4, guys. It starts off in stage 1. And Carlos says, Kyrie is a different kind of annoying. Westbrook, you can't say nothing to Westbrook. You can't say anything. If he's made his mind up that the sky's red and it's not blue, the sky's red. That's the vibe I get from Russell Westbrook. It really is, guys. Okay, where should I go next? Okay, Tennessee Titans, switching gears to the NFL. I'm going to go back, guys. I'm here at about 7:35. I'm going to have KeithEngle in, and we're going to talk from TGI Sports. I'm going to ask him about Kyrie. I'm going to get his opinion on Westbrook, Kyrie, and this Michael Irvin story. But first, the Tennessee Titans promote Tim Kelly, 36-year-old passing coordinator, the offensive coordinator. This guy's worked with Mike Vrabel for 5 years. I'm not as down on this as I am as some of the other fans. And let me tell you why. I think the thing about the offensive coordinator, quite frankly, the other offensive coordinator here, and I thought I wrote his name down here, Todd Downing. Oh, thank you. Put out big store. How's the truck back? You know something, Linda? I've got to start getting back to doing that. I'm going to start getting back to doing that. I've gotten away from breaking stories. I've changed my schedule up. I don't have the gaps I used to have, but I used to have gaps and I can break stories through the tracker van. I'm going to start bringing that back, though. I do have one gap. I think I'll do that. So here at Nashville, a lot of people's asking me about this. Todd Downey got fired. Okay. Former offensive coordinator. I didn't like how he called the opening game there, giving wide receivers shuttle pass. It's supposed to be a receiver, but they give it to a tight end on a 3rd and short. That helped them lose the opening game. People's been down on Downey ever since. I like the fact that he made adjustments as the season went along. This is the former OC. Getting the ball to Derrick Henry in the flat. I like some of his formations actually down the stretch. The problem is the offensive line. The left tackle gets hurt in week 2. Their best blocking guard, Roger Saffold, was dealt away in the offseason. Ben Jones, their center for the Titans, in and out of the lineup there. In and out of the lineup throughout the season, had concussion problems. He's in his 30s. He went down towards the last 3 or 4 games. You're down 3 offensive linemen, and you're a big heavy power running team. Your leading receiver was traded away. The rookie you brought in to replace him got hurt on and off. What do you expect with all that going on? You're overpaying Ryan Tannehill. A lot of this is personnel and management, which got John Robertson fired, okay? And on top of that, the guy gets a DUI. Then he lies and says he's fearing for his life, and he's rushing home. He does a few days in jail because of that DUI read. So they fired him, and now they brought in this other guy. Like I said, they brought in this other guy, 36-year-old. What I like about young offensive coordinators, that they will see stuff that me and you see, fan base, fans of the NFL, and they make adjustments, guys. They make adjustments. You get some of these guys in their 60s and 70s, it's their way or the highway. You fit into my system. I don't develop my system around you. I didn't think Arthur Smith would be a good hire. He turned out to be great. Then the guy gets a head coaching job in Atlanta. So it's not that bad. And Mike Vrabel's judgment, I trust. And I don't sit here and I'm not a Kool-Aid drinker. I'm not a Tennessee Titans sunglass wearing guy. But I'm not down on the team like some guys are, just to be down on the team, quote unquote, you know. And in other news, the new general manager, Ryan Carthon, this was they've hired the quarterback, the Green Bay player personnel guy, Chad Brinker. He's supposed to run. Now he's assistant at Green Bay. The reason why I bring up Green Bay as being a good drafting team, because they have to be a good drafted team. They're Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's hard to get a free agent to go in the smallest town in the NFL. Let's just face it, it's an ice box there about 6 months out of the year. You have to draft well. You have to develop. You cannot have throwaway drafts like John Robertson taking guys with injury problems with high upside in the first round. Caleb Farley, they're going to have to take another cornerback. I mean, he drafted Caleb Farley, a guy with back problems who's only been hurt since he's got here, the guy out of, Virginia Tech. And then they turn around and take another corner the very next year. So this guy, now it did say, I didn't like the fact that it said they're going to run the Cleveland model. The Cleveland haven't won anything yet, okay? Yeah, they got Deshaun Watson. they've drafted pretty good. Most of that, folks, because they were drafting really high because they're terrible. So I'm not in love with that, but I do like the fact that he came from Green Bay. He take that Green Bay scouting. You take some of that. So Ron Carthon, this team is picking 11th in the draft this year, okay? Their biggest question mark is Ryan Tannehill, okay? He's a $36 million cap hit. This team is $24 million over the cap. That is 29th in NFL. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, but there is something that has to be done about that. If they cut him, they'll save $18 million. I'm reading that they might not want to cut the guy. Well, if you don't want to cut him, you're going to have to extend him or restructure him. If you extend the guy, you can maybe cut that down to maybe, my guess is 18, preferably 12 million. You want to get it cut in half no matter what. You got to get Tannehill's cap hit cut in half. What I would want to do, just between us, folks, Linda, if you're still listening out there, and Sports Talk with Sean. What's up, Sean? Good. Hello, Sean. Good to see you. I would cut Tannehill, guys. Save that $18 million. I would trade a 29-year-old Derrick Henry. Maybe try to hold him in front of the eyes of a Chicago Bear team in the second round. Get an extra second round pick. I would sign Josh Dobbs, former University of Tennessee player, who's been on teams' practice squads for about 3 years, $5 to $7 million per year. I'm Josh Dobbs. I'm happy. Like my dad would say, as a pig in crap, if you're signing me to a 3-year, $18 to $22 million 3-year type of deal, and I cut that left tackle there, Taylor Lewan, you've got cap room and you've got draft capital. Okay? You know, you do that, you move forward. If that don't work out, it's a better quarterback draft next year. You make an aggressive move and you make that happen. You're going to get Trayvon Burks back. You've got some decent offensive line coming back. You go out, you get that left tackle by that 11th pick, okay, or through free agency, and you've still got a really good defense there. Even if you do let a guy like a Bud Dupree go, you're going to get a Harold Landry back, okay? It's not that hard. You have cap room. You're not only out of cap space, you would have cap room. Pickle says Henry to the Bears for a second-round pick. Yeah. What do you do with Malik Willis? Malik Willis has to go compete with Josh Dobbs. And he just stays weak. Malik Willis simply stays the backup quarterback. He's super raw. He reminds me of Trey Lance, guys. He reminds me of Trey Lance. So, you know, it is what it is. All right. Okay. Other news. Okay, Derek Carr. I read this the other day, and I thought this is totally ridiculous. All right. Derek Carr's visiting New Orleans, supposedly got permission to talk with New Orleans, who's got Dennis Allen. I think Dennis Allen coached him for a cup of coffee when he got fired after 1 year, and then the team moved on from Dennis Allen with the Saints. I think that's the connection there with Derek Carr. This team is dead. I just talked about the Titans. That the Saints are dead last in cap space, $59 million over. They're going to have to do something with Michael Thomas. They're going to, if they can get anything for Michael Thomas just to get that cap off, that would be great. But my thing is, Allen is probably going to get canned next year. My guess is he's a defensive-minded head coach. I just don't see Derek Carr fitting in there. Hard pass, Derek Carr. Hard pass. My thing is that story was reported yesterday. I do not think that there was nothing on there today because Carr don't want to mess with the Saints. He's just being nice because he's a nice guy. You know, he's going to wait till Valentine's Day and his Valentine's to the Raiders is a middle finger, and his guy's a Christian, but they're going to cut him by the 15th so they don't pay him $44 million, and he's going to be an outright free agent, and that's going to be great for my show because he's going to visit with teams like the Jets, the Washington, maybe Frank Wright. Maybe he talks to Frank Wright in Carolina. Maybe he talks to the Colts there, but they don't have a coach yet. Maybe they have a coach by then, and we'll see what happens. Carr's pretty good quarterback, He's a good quarterback. He's like, 31? Most comebacks in the fourth quarter over the last 5 years. One of the worst defenses overall his whole tenure there. Ranked 30th in offensive line. I mean, just on and on and on, So hard pass. Pickle says the Saints beat Philly. That defense is getting older. Dennis Allen there. I don't trust that. Now, what do you do with that $59 million? They're going to have to eat it at some point. They've been putting that mill off and putting that mill. I mean, you got to eat it, And Carlos says, no, NYC, please. He would be a good fit in Carolina. Maybe Tampa goes after him. That whole division could go after him, Atlanta could go after him. Atlanta's going to have money. You got to look at cap space. You got to look at a head coach. I'm going offensive-minded head coach. Not unless the defensive guy's got a really good coordinator. The Patriots, for crying out loud. Yeah, and Carr, that's what they're going to do, man. They're going to dump that $40 million contract. 2010, Pickle says I called the upset special. So anyways, while I'm waiting for there he is, KeithEngle, everybody. Man, like that background there, buddy.
Well, we just finished the college sports huddle. Thank you. And so I didn't change the background into this regular studio background. So you get the college basketball experience tonight. Sorry.
Every time I see you, I think, okay, I gotta get caught up. I've got my green screen back here, Keith. I just got to get my images, man. And I'm hoping to be the next KeithEngle studio-wise.
Wow. That's all you should wish for, by the way.
Okay, brother. I was just going to cover this story, but you came up in the perfect time. Okay, so Michael Irvin, did you hear that story about him getting sent home?
Yeah.
This is his words, not mine. He says he don't remember making a comment to this woman in the lobby, and he says something to her, and they rewound the tape. NFL Network, they move his hotel room. Then they say he can't cover the Super Bowl. About his past, likes to party a lot, even at 56 years old. I'm thinking he probably said something. He had been drinking. That's his words, not mine. He says, I had a few drinks that night. And I'm thinking he's saying something like, do you want to come back and party with the playmaker? And that woman was like, no, I don't think so.
I would say you're probably exactly right. And, I will have a pop here and there, and I likely will on vacation here very shortly. But
I hear you. Sounds like fun.
I almost always remember what I say, Robert. I mean, unless you've had that much, if you had that much, Michael, then you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Or you're lying, which is also possible. He said, what could I possibly have said in a minute? You can say a lot in a minute, for crying out loud, and be offensive, right? So,
yeah, he probably said, you want to go party with the playmaker? And she's like, who's the playmaker, sir? No, I don't know you.
I'm just starting to like Michael Irvin a little bit again, but
yeah,
maybe it's me, but even when I see him on Fox here now and again, there are times where it looks like he's had a rough night the night before.
He's probably got some. I think people like the guy generally. That's why he gets a lot of chances.
Yeah.
He's got his demons and what it seems like. This is what I got from the New York Post. Check this out. And this is for the audience here. During his playing career and post-playing career, Irvin faced a number of allegations of misconduct. In 1996, Irvin and former offensive lineman Eric Williams were accused of sexually assaulting a Cowboys cheerleader at gunpoint under the influence of cocaine. It was later revealed that the accuser fabricated the story, and she pleaded guilty to perjury and filing a false police report. That is crazy. And it says in 96, he was also arrested in a hotel to include topless dancers and cocaine.
That was
pleaded no contest.
Yeah.
He pushes it right to the edge, don't he?
In those stories, with the one with the sexual assaults, did he say that I might have done a little bit of cocaine the night before and I don't remember if I did that or not? Michael, he seems like a likable guy, but said he's got some demons, and I hope he gets himself straightened out, because when you're 56,
you got to grow out of it at some point.
It's bad enough when you're 30 and you got those demons, but you still got him at 56. There's a lot of cautionary tales out there, and I hope he straightens himself out.
Yeah, I like him. I like him when he comes on First Take with Stephen A. Smith and defends the Cowboys, even though sometimes they're indefensible.
Yeah,
he's a homer like that, but Jim seems to like him. Okay, man. Hey, Tom Brady retired. What's your most fondest memory of Tom Brady, man?
My fondest memory of Tom Brady. There's so many. I got this. We did a little retrospective last Sunday, and my fondest memory is probably because it happened also on a vacation in the middle of the Caribbean. I watched the Super Bowl in 2017, which we had the fifth anniversary of just Sunday, 2083, and I sat there amongst a bunch of Falcons and fans and Patriot haters. And there was about 5 people on this entire cruise ship rooting for the Patriots. And I kept telling people, we're going to win this game. 1 touchdown, we're going to win this game.
Did you on vacation?
We watched that on the deck of a cruise ship. And
that's what I thought I heard you say, man.
It was the best Super Bowl ever. And it's my fondest memory, because I can't think of another quarterback that would have come back from 28-3 with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. And the 2001 Super Bowl, they're my 2 favorite memories. I still hear, Robert, I thought about this the other day. I hear this all the time. John Madden screaming that, what are they doing? What are they doing at the end of that game? Why aren't they going to overtime? Well, because they knew they had something and they were going to take advantage of it. It was their best chance to win. So, Tom Brady.
What a great moment. Do you guys? Is Adam Vinatieri in the Patriots Hall of Fame?
I do not believe he is. He should be. He'll go.
He's made some big kicks for you all.
Yeah, if he isn't, I got to check that out. I don't think that he is, though. And I hope they put him in before he gets in the Football Hall of Fame, because he's going to be in the Football Hall of Fame at some point, without a doubt.
How long has he been retired? Is he eligible?
If he should be becoming eligible here in the next year or two, I think, and the way they vote everybody. Yeah. And I know kickers have a hard time getting in, but he's got to go to the Hall of Fame. He has.
Look at that comment. That's what I get at work a lot. The people hate Brady, man. They just envy that success there, Keith.
This brings up a great point. And I did a vlog last week all about this topic.
Yeah.
People who just, again, there's a lot of guys I don't like in sports, but I can respect what they've done.
Yeah.
But the hatred that Tom Brady gets, guys like Tom Brady, they're guys that we should be rooting for, and we don't. Yeah. They're the guys who are that's what's right about sports, guys like Tom Brady, but we don't root for him. And I really feel bad. And Pickles, don't take this personally, because there's a whole army of you guys out there.
There's an old lady I work with. She hates Tom Brady.
Yeah,
like that.
I feel bad for them, because they have missed out. They don't have an appreciation for something that'll never be done again. What he's done won't ever happen again, Robert. Never will you see this type of career again.
And you're right. And he seems like a better guy. And then now he's taking pictures in his underwear. Did you see that?
Well, that was a little weird.
I hope he's not going through a midlife crisis.
He's going through something, because I don't know what that was.
Hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio probably and dating those 19-year-olds.
Well, he's taking a gap year here. He's not going to start with Fox this year. He's going to take this next coming season off. I'm wondering if he's ever going to fulfill that contract at all, because I'm not sure how good he's going to be.
He's
number
in Florida.
one.
He's going to be hanging out with Irvin, man. He's going to be a mess.
It reminds me of a great story one time when you remember when Plexico Burris shot himself in a nightclub in New York City?
Yeah, he got 2 years for that, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I got an argument with a guy who used to work for me. He was a huge Giant fan. He hated Brady too, right?
Yeah.
And when it happened, he goes, well, I think that's ridiculous. I think they're singling him out for, selective enforcement. And I said, the guy's dumb enough to put a gun in his pajama bottoms or whatever the hell he's wearing at a nightclub at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Gun, Keith.
And a loaded gun, and shoots himself, ought to go to prison. He goes, well, if it was Tom Brady, I guarantee it would have got swept under the rug. I says, just think about how stupid what you just said was. What Tom Brady's number one's not going to be at a nightclub at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's not going to have a loaded pistol in his pocket, and he's not going to shoot himself in the leg. So come on.
He got jail time for sure. If he would have killed himself, they would have gave him life.
Yeah.
But the tombstone in the prison cell. This was New York Giant Plexico Burris. Yeah.
Plexico.
Yeah, I tell you, man, Brady is Brady's something, man. He's a guy that the model of consistency, like you said, he always took less money. He showed up to work. He never really got that ego. Arguing with people. He's a competitor, but he never got that kind of I'm above the team type of thing.
No, he had competitive fire, and people would see him yelling on the field, and he wasn't always complaining that he wanted to call. Sometimes he was. Everybody does that. But a lot of times he's just firing himself, his teammates up. And there's a very famous footage, and I just happened to see it again yesterday, of him and Bill O'Brien, the new Patriot offensive coordinator, getting into it on the sideline when Bill was there before. And they went at it. I thought they were going to punch each other, and Belichick had actually come over, which I'd never seen with the Patriots.
Oh, wow.
And, 10 minutes later, they're fine. That's the type of guy Tom Brady was. He just was a fiery competitor. He did it with Josh McDaniels a few times, too.
Yeah, Charlie White said he got into it with Brady.
Yeah, again,
in the Bears game one year.
I think he just, again, all the things like that are what makes him great, right? And he was also very good at, imagining slights against him as well. That fueled his career as well.
Like Jordan.
Exactly. There were some real slights. He felt slighted by Lloyd Carr at Michigan before he ever, got to the NFL. Didn't think he got a fair shot to have the full-time job there. And he held it against Lloyd Carr forever, but he admitted he didn't go back to Michigan for like nearly 20 years,
Because of Lloyd Carr. See, that's great. That's why I bring you on. I didn't know it was like that with Lloyd Carr.
Yeah, like he didn't go back until like 1990s. 2017. I want to say he went to a Michigan game, and he actually thanked Lloyd Carr. He still didn't like him, he said, but he thanked him because he's the one that fueled the career that he had in the NFL. And then
Michael Jordan
there was all
brought the guy to his Hall of Fame that they cut him over in high school. Yeah.
And so all those things, some of them were real. And then when there weren't real ones, he'd make them up, and all these, the Deflategate and all this stuff just fueled his passion.
He played better after Deflategate.
He did. He did.
Yeah, he really did, man. And that's a good transition. Now, Aaron Rodgers, there's no way he's going to retire the same year Brady does and get overshadowed.
Exactly. I thought the same thing. Now we know Aaron Rodgers will be back because, there's no way he wants to be in the same Hall of Fame class as Tom Brady for sure.
He's going away to a dark place. What do you think? What do you think they should do with Aaron Rodgers?
Get him some psychiatric help. He
needs Jesus and a psychologist.
He needs a lot, man. I'm going to spend 5 days in totally. Is that what it is? Right? 5 days in a
something like that.
Total darkness. What? Why?
Yeah. He shouldn't have said. He's saying too much. He's saying everything he's thinking.
Why don't you just go do it and not tell anybody?
Yeah.
because people just think, man, that guy's like batshit crazy. Excuse my French.
He really, he's a guy that my friend from Milwaukee, she's a huge Packer fan. She's been saying he's turning into a diva. He didn't spend any time with his receivers last year. My thing is Christian Watson was getting better, and his cap hit's crazy. People are talking about Tennessee. Tennessee's $24 million over the cap. He's about $50-60 million cap. What are you going to do with all that money? You know what I think? Here's my suggestion. The only team that can really afford him and can make this happen is a team like the Ravens. They got $33 million in cap space. They're $100 million off on Lamar Jackson's contract. Sign him, franchise him, trade him elsewhere, or trade him before the trade, before the new year or whatever, or as soon as the new year. I don't know how they would work that out. They'll do something and then turn around and use those extra picks. Go out and pick up Aaron Rodgers. You got a ready-made defense there. You can compete with Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson. What do you think about that?
Well, you got to get him some weapons as well, but I can see that's a plan that could work. I mean, he's not going anywhere. We know that. And by the way, just to back up for a second, when did he actually become a diva? Because I can remember early in his career, I kind of liked Aaron Rodgers.
Me too.
But now he's like totally.
It started towards the end with McCarthy.
Yeah,
he was audible out of everything.
Oh, it's funny. I've talked to a couple of really big Green Bay Packer fans. In fact, one of the big honchos in my company, he's a big Packer fan. I remember saying to him, asking about Aaron Rodgers. This is at the height of his career. This is,
man, he's fun to watch, man.
They hate him, a lot of these Packer fans, because instead of doing what Tom Brady would always do, right, and take what he's given. That's what Tom Brady was great at. What you give him, he's going to take, and then he'll exploit you later on. But Aaron Rodgers this was this guy's opinion, and I respect his opinion too, not just because he's one of the bosses of my company, but he said that he was always looking to make the spectacular play.
Yeah,
he wanted to take the hardest play he could. If you remember back in the NFC Championship game a couple of years ago when Brady won his 7th Super Bowl, they beat Green Bay in Green Bay, and on that last drive that LaFleur got chastised for kicking a field goal and giving it back to Brady. Well, Aaron Rodgers, if you remember, could have walked into the end zone.
He could have walked, and he had the wheels to do it too.
And he's tried to make a spectacular throw instead, so they go to 4th down.
Yeah,
that's who I blame that loss on.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers.
He didn't take enough checkdowns. He's the guy that's kind of I was talking about Westbrook earlier, a victim of his own talents. He always thinks he can make the big play rather than people says there's not a lot of moments for Brady because he didn't need big moments because he made things happen on 1st down and 2nd down that look routine, but everybody else didn't do it.
Yeah.
They didn't get the easy 6-yard pass.
You may not have seen a ton of spectacular highlights, but you saw a lot of, 14 play touchdown drives out of Tom Brady and just nickel and diming you to death and taking you what you got.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Plus, he won with lesser talent than the Joe Montanas and the Peyton Mannings of the world. He never played with a Jerry Rice. I mean, he had Randy Moss later in his career. He was still very good.
They never won the Super Bowl.
Never won a Super Bowl with Randy Moss. He never had Jerry Rice, never had Marvin Harrison. He never had a lot of these guys that the quarterbacks that people want to put in the same conversation. And I don't want to take anything away from those guys, right? Joe Montana was a great quarterback.
Yeah.
But I got to believe I can put Brady on those teams, those 49ers teams, and they win at least 4. Maybe they win more Super Bowls.
Mike Francesa said he's a better Super Bowl quarterback.
Who? Montana?
Mike Francesa. You know him from
WFN. Yeah, I know Montana. Yeah, I know Francesa, the king of the lost tapes when he's wrong about something. I joke with Carlos all the time. When he's wrong about something, he really forgets it.
I don't remember saying he said it last Friday. Today's Monday, and the game happened. But
Francesa would be just horribly wrong about some stuff, and the tapes would mysteriously disappear from WFAN. So
that is true. That is true. Yeah. He had some weird better. He had a better QBR in the Pro Bowl or the Super Bowl, but Brady's been to 10.
You know, I kind of live by the Billy Packer. When Billy Packer passed away a week ago,
I was talking about him last week. Love Billy Packer.
Great play by analyst. But he had a motto that he lived by, and I kind of feel like I live by the same motto once I read it. It's like, I'm often wrong, but I'm never in doubt, right? I feel very strongly and have great convictions about everything I say, and I know that I'm not always right, though. You know?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. See, Pickles still throwing shade at him. Had 14 Pro Bowlers in Tampa.
What about all those years? What about when he won a Super Bowl with David Patton and Troy? And Troy Brown's a really nice player, but he's not
like
Jerry
a quarterback
Rice.
And a receiver.
We can't. Who's that? He did play some in a pinch. They put him in the backfield, the defensive backfield. But David Patton, he's winning. Come on,
none of those guys are David Givens or whatever his name is. Givens.
Deion Branch. Deion Branch is a nice player, but he's not a
None
Hall
of them made the Hall of Fame, did they?
Wes Welker. He made Wes Welker's career. He made Julius Edelman's career.
He was a quarterback conversion.
Those guys would have been nothing without Tom Brady.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, you're right, Pickles. He had 14 Pro Bowlers in Tampa. I won't disagree with that, but that's one Super Bowl out of 6. Go back and watch the first one. Look at the team that had Antoine Smith and J.R. Redmond in the backfield and David Patton at a wideout and Wiggins at tight end. Tell me who's going to win a Super Bowl with that team besides Tom Brady.
That is true. They really didn't have the greatest running back. I mean, Corey Dillon was kind of on the back half of his career.
Well, he's probably the best running back he had when he got there. And I was going to say one more thing about that Super Bowl with David Patton. He wasn't even Tom Brady yet.
That's true.
He was just a game manager at that point.
Yeah, but a lot of and a friend of mine, he told me he heard this story, and I you probably will be able to confirm it or deny it. That Adam Vinatieri says, "Do you want to win it now, Coach?" He tells Bill Belichick, "If you want to win it now, let me kick it." And then he kicks the game winner to beat the Rams. Is that true?
It's a story I've heard. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Man, that's something. I hope he makes the regular Hall of Fame. I mean, and like Carlos said, he played 10 years with the Colts afterwards. Y'all should have kept him, man.
He did play, man. He looked older than, he looked about 75 years old when he retired, for crying out loud. He had a beard. It was all gray or white. And Pickles got a good point here. I mean, he did play with one very important Hall of Famer, and that's Bill Belichick. Before him, I should say. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that
never
even a little bit.
Either so far without Brady.
Listen, they needed each other. I have no doubt that without the other one, each one without the other would have won a couple of Super Bowls. Would they have won 6? Maybe not. But I think they both could have won somewhere down the road without the other guy. But to have the sustained success that they had, they needed each other.
That kind of dynasty, man.
I watched Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was 5-11 with Drew Bledsoe. 6-8.
He was on his way to being fired.
Yeah,
he said put his house up. Remember?
I do. I just got through reading a book not that long ago called Dynasty. It's about the Patriots from about the time.
I've heard that.
It's a great book. In the 2000 training camp, before Bledsoe got hurt.
Yeah.
In that Jet game, and Mo Lewis is forever the MVP of the Patriots dynasty, by the way.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady was the best quarterback in camp, and Bill Belichick told Robert Kraft that if I had to do my way, Drew Bledsoe had just signed an extension to make him the highest paid quarterback in the history of football, the highest paid player in football.
And that was in like March of that year before he was the draft.
Yeah, and there was no way he could play Brady under those circumstances. And he told Kraft, though, I should be playing Brady.
Man.
And then circumstances made it so that he could. But it's an interesting story. It's a great book. I can't remember the author now, but I just read it not too long ago.
Yeah. I need to get back. I still ain't finished the Jimmy Johnson book. I'm about 100 pages into that one. It's good, though.
Yeah, I got to pick. I don't know. I think I might have that on my Kindle. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll read that on vacation. Let's see.
Where are you going to vacation, man? Arizona?
I'll be in the Caribbean for 9 days, starting Friday. We're flying to Florida tomorrow. So I people ask me where we're, because we cruise in October and February. And whenever anybody asks me, well, where are you going? I say, well, I'm leaving Port Canaveral and I'm returning to Port Canaveral. I have no idea. In between, it really doesn't matter where we're stopping.
I hear you, bro. Hey, now let me ask you this. What are your leans for the Super Bowl?
Boy, I'll tell you, I've gone back and forth so many times.
Man.
I usually have can come up with a very strong opinion fairly quickly, and I have gone back and forth, and I'm going to bet the game. I just don't know which way I'm going. Part of me there's so many great.
Which layer are you leaning today?
Today I've been leaning Chiefs all day.
Here.
And then I'll be on the Eagles. I'm like, Jesus, I'll read some of the defensive numbers, and I'm like, how can I bet against this team and this defense? And I just wish, I'd have a better read, Robert, if Purdy hadn't played 2 plays.
Yeah.
I think I'd have a better read on this Eagles team. And I just don't know if they're actually as good as what I've seen, or it's just been a fact that they played a mediocre Giant. Giants had a nice team this year, but obviously they were outclassed by the Eagles, and they played a team that had no quarterback. I mean, I don't care how good you are. If your quarterback
had 250 total yards. I thought they had 400 yards. They only had 250.
Yeah.
Now the 49ers defense is really good. I was just impressed by the way that the Chiefs and Mahomes played against that Cincinnati defense with that ankle.
And guys coming off the street to play wide receiver late in that game
as well.
Yeah, they were losing players right and left in that game. And again, I've been trying to monitor the health of these guys too, because that's important. Not just Mahomes, but who's he going to throw the football to?
Yeah, I think they're pretty healthy, other than Miko Hartman. Hartman's been out for a long time.
Yeah, he's an important part of that team too. But they played well without him. I think that he's not. They can miss one guy. So today I'm leaning towards Kansas City, and that may what is the line? What is the line today? Do you even know?
It's like 2, maybe 1.5, 2. It keeps fluctuating. But something, I think that Hurts' shoulder is in worse shape than Mahomes' ankle. Hurts can't get the ball field, man. Even though I know those are blowouts, but he cannot get that ball 25 yards, I don't think. And I'm thinking that maybe with Spags there, who beat your Patriots, I think he could put the kind of game plan in to really see how healthy Hurts really is. And that's why I'm leaning back towards the Chiefs. Otherwise, I would take the Eagles easy in this game.
That's another reason that I can't, because this defense has been a little bit better. I thought to be better this year. I don't people give them credit for. Yeah.
They're better up front.
Yeah. So up front, they're really, really good. The defensive backs are a little green.
Big time.
But, they played well enough to win, obviously. But you hit on something, too, that has got me leaning their way, and that's Spag. Because if I got a game plan for one game, I don't know if there's another defensive coordinator in the history of football that I'd want. And that's simply based on what I watched in 2007. Because
wasn't he still their coordinator in 11? Did he come back in 11?
Was he back? I
remember he got fired as a head coach.
Yeah, he was with the Rams for a couple of years. But I thought he went.
He's only coordinator material.
Yeah, great one though. I mean, again, in big games, sometimes like that Kansas City defense doesn't really turn you on that much, but they played really well against the Bengals.
Yeah, well, the Bengals did have those linemen out.
Yeah, I mean, they were out against the Bills too, and Burrow
totally destroyed the Bills.
Yeah.
Totally so it's just, and that high ankle sprain, it's typically 4 to 6. It's going to be 3 weeks. Mahomes a pretty quick healer.
I'll tell you,
Jamie's going to totally dismiss this. He's going to be on tomorrow.
I thought that was going to hurt his ability to improvise the way he does so well, right? But I didn't really see. I mean, he'd limp around now and again, but it didn't really seem to hurt that part of his game. A little bit, but not as much as I thought it would against the Bengals.
Very physical Bengals team.
now, as you said, now he's got 2 more weeks of healing. So boy, it's hard to bet against him. Yeah. There's some great storylines in this game too. Reed against his team that fired him. He's coaching against a coach he fired in 2014, I think.
He did not take Sirianni with him to Kansas City, and Sirianni says, I still got a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy with a chip on his shoulder, actually.
Yeah, he says, how about them Cowboys? He's a troller too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He ripped a reporter apart because he asked a question. He goes, which one of your, and again, it's a standard question he asked on media day. He goes, of all your players, which one would you want to date your daughter? Well, his daughter's 5 and he blows up. So I don't think he met at 5 years old.
He did say that. He did get mad about that.
He goes, my daughter's 5 years old. What the hell's the matter with you? I mean, come on, Nick. I think this is another guy who likes to kind of play a role,
Yeah. Yeah. He's a trip, man. Let me ask you, so what, just before you came on, Keith, Russell Westbrook, the Lakers are doing everything they can. Now they're trying to work in a way to bring back, D'Angelo Russell, former Laker.
Saw that.
Is he the most talented player to not win a championship because of his coachability?
Westbrook?
Yeah, with all those triple doubles, man.
He's pretty close because he likes numbers, right? If you remember, when he set a record for the most triple doubles in a season or in a row,
like 196 or something. I had it rolled down here somewhere.
But there was also his teammates would say that he'd miss shots on purpose so he could get the offensive rebound, and
that's what I was saying before you got on. He was patenting some of the 198 triple doubles, the only player to average it over 4 different seasons.
Yeah, I would say he's got to be. I'm trying to think of a guy who's as talented or had the numbers that he's got that hasn't won a championship. I can't think of a guy off the top of my head. I
think he's probably maybe better than maybe Barkley, and I don't know. Maybe not Stockton, because Stockton has the assist leader.
Yeah, he was a better overall player than Stockton.
Better scorer, though, than Stockton.
Yeah. I would say he's a better overall player than Barkley, too, probably.
Maybe Malone?
I would say those 4 guys would be the guys I'd have to choose from, the guys you mentioned.
Corey's saying Malone, I guess he thinks maybe Malone's better, but I just think that, the guy he had a dust up with Ham last night during the Kareem deal with LeBron.
Of course he did. Unbelievable. Yeah,
he said he wouldn't come off the floor, Keith.
Yeah,
he's been subbed out.
I think what you said was, and I think you're right, because you mentioned, you put an important caveat on there, because he's uncoachable. I don't think Charles Barkley was uncoachable. I don't think John Stockton and Karl Malone were uncoachable, right? They were great players. They didn't win because they were playing against Michael Jordan for most of their careers.
Yeah, he's
for the most part.
All-timer,
Right? So I think Westbrook takes it easily now that I think about it, because of that one qualifier you put in there, because he's uncoachable.
Do you think he's uncoachable? He's been 5 teams in 5 years?
Absolutely, he's uncoachable. I agree 100%. And we could put Kyrie in there. I know we didn't get a chance.
Who's worse, Kyrie or Westbrook?
Kyrie is his own kind of crazy, so it's a little bit different, because they're going along. The Nets have been going along. They came back from a 1-5 start, played really well under Jock Vaughn. Everything's going swimmingly until Durant gets hurt.
And they're still in the 4th seed, Keith.
I know, and even during that time, I kept saying it's only a matter of time before Kyrie just has a Kyrie moment. And trade me. Okay, see ya. I would have traded him last year. I want for a bag of freaking donuts or something.
He's an inch away as far as burning bridges, Keith, from a guy like Antonio Brown. I say, because forget about the off-field stuff. He burns bridges. I'm sure that really got Durant upset. It got the owner upset that he thought that he says, we're not trading them to the Lakers, because him and LeBron are working this out behind the scenes. And I'm with the owner there.
I am too. And again, too many times I make fun of guys and say they need some, mental help. And I don't want to.
Some of these guys may.
Mental illness is a real thing, and I don't want to make fun of it, but
you know,
I'm telling you, Kyrie needs some help. I mean, as I've said many times on my show, anybody who thinks the earth is flat, sorry, you need some help. Because I've offered many times, and Kyrie hasn't taken me up. I said I would supply the car and the gasoline, and we'll drive in any direction you want, as far as you want to go, and we're not going to fall off the earth. Just, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I said on my show the other day, Keith, that he's the only guy that both of the New York papers, one leans conservative, the New York Post, and one leans more liberal, the Daily News. They can agree on one thing. They both were okay with Kyrie getting out of town.
Oh, man. And who's going to give him a max contract next year? Everybody thinks he's getting a max contract. Who's going to do it?
I think he's a rental with Dallas.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I mean, but again, where's he going to go? He couldn't get himself a contract last year when he could have.
That's why Stephen A. Smith, of all people, Mr. NBA player lover, says that maybe they need to get away from these guaranteed contracts and pay as you play. It's hurting the league, this kind of stuff.
Oh, it's killing. Then guys don't want to play.
Yeah. You know? They don't even want to play 82 games no more.
Oh, no. We need load management. I mean, you know. And that wasn't that what was I don't remember. I know Kareem's got a beef with LeBron. Was it about the load management thing? I don't even remember.
Supposedly made up last night.
Did they make up?
Yeah. Is LeBron greater than Jordan now?
It's hard. We had this debate the other night. I'm going to say no. Jordan's still the best. LeBron was great in his own way. He did win with some much lesser players in Cleveland than a lot of guys won with. We debated this the other night with Carlos.
I don't know which side Carlos is. I just know one thing. You can't use the GM thing because he walked out of good situations and he pushed players out of town. He pushed for Westbrook.
Westbrook and Kyrie will be okay. In what sense?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be okay because they got a boatload of money. Yeah, they'll be okay, but they're not going to win any NBA championships anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that people can't say that you can't use the LeBron Jordan thing. You can't say that LeBron didn't have a great GM. He had a good situation in Miami. They had a bad year.
Oh, that was a great situation in Miami for sure.
Wade got older, but they could have made some moves.
Again, Michael Jordan's still the best. I mean, he won with Scottie Pippen and a bunch of guys that played at the YMCA on Saturdays. He won with Luke Longley, Bill Wennington.
People act like that. Those players were all-stars. LeBron had some all-stars.
He did.
He had two other big stars, top,
Well, I would say Dwayne Wade was better than Scottie Pippen.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
At his peak, I think he was better than Pippen.
He's a better scorer. I don't know, maybe not defender, but
probably not defender. But
I'm curious what core. He's a big NBA guy. You have to see Kareem to like him, yeah. And that's right, Pickles. I mean, had the sky hook. LeBron. I'm hearing he's kind of patting his stats now.
I got no problem with Kareem. I think Kareem was a great player, and the game's changed. Obviously, we don't have players like Kareem anymore. Will Perdue. I forgot about Will Perdue.
Yeah, I mean, he's a real soft-looking guy.
Look at the centers he won with when the centers still mattered a little bit in the NBA, right? Yeah. Purdue, Bill Cartwright
looked old.
Luke Longley. Oh, my gosh. Luke Longley was Tom Brady could outrun Luke Longley.
Hey, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight. So, are you going to be on any shows on? Oh, what's right? They're doing a watch along Sunday, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm going to try to pop in a little bit.
I've got plans. They're wanting to do it, during the actual Super Bowl or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of Northeast Streaming Sports. I know Mac's doing a watch along. I think Let's Talk Sports and Dan's got something going like all day through the game.
Yeah, I'm coming on his show at I think 2:00 Central, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think
he's 30 minutes.
He's got me at 12 o'clock or something. I'm going to try. Sometimes I get the internet package because I will do my shows, not my regularly scheduled times, but I try to get on a little bit each day. I would have a show just to chat a little bit.
I hear you, man. I hear you. The guys love you. Hey, have a safe trip, man. I guess I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Anytime, Robert. I'm happy to jump on here. It's easy for me since I'm sitting right in this chair anyway when it's time for me to come on here. So,
well, I hate to hold you over, but there's so many topics, man. I had to get them out, buddy.
Absolutely fine. Not a problem at all.
All right. Hey, have a good night. Thanks, guys. See you, Keith.